Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Ponderosa Garden Adventures. My name is Mark and this is part of our countdown to spring as it's the week before spring. I guess it begins this Friday or Saturday. So we're doing typical spring stuff. Today I'm going to be planting seeds and I'm planting a lot of seeds because the prices of starts at our nursery have gone way up. And so I'm going to be planting some flowers and some vegetables just to get us started for spring. Now, it's a beautiful, beautiful warm day here in our part of Zone 10, Zone 10A. Although I realize much of North America right now is being blanketed by a late winter storm. Here in our part of the world, spring began about 3 weeks ago. So we're actually a little behind on getting started with our planting. But we had a lot of infrastructure, a lot of landscaping, irrigation, and so forth. Lots and lots of weeding because we had a lot of rains. So we got a little late start on doing our seeds. So I'm going to get started today. One thing I did do this year is I purchased some seed trays. I'm going to try these out and just see how they work. All right, as you can see, this one just has little individual seed trays that are biodegradable, so you can plant these in the ground. I don't have much luck with that, but biodegradable and disposable. I bought another set of replacements for when these get used up, and so I'll be using those. I also got this, it's a seed tray with 16 little pockets. It has silicone at the bottom of each tray to make so you can individually punch these out. Now this is important because when you do seeds, a lot of times, sometimes there will be starts really tall here and the other ones are just getting started. You don't want to plant them all at once. So you want to be able to individually poke them out. And then there's holes in the bottom of each of the little compartments, and then you put this in a tray and fill this with water, and then it automatically waters the seedlings. But before they germinate, though, you still have to water it every day. Spray the top of it. So I've got a watering can so that we can water them when the seeds are done, and then I also have some more trays. So I'm also going to use this for some of the veggies, and I'll be putting this into one of these trays filled with water like this, and then we'll be starting a bunch of starts this way too. Some of these too, we'll fill out some of these, so we'll just get as many little starts going as we can. So let's get started. Let's get this spring kicked off to a good start and get some seeds started. So I do have my big bucket of soil, and this is just generic potting soil, the least expensive we can find. You don't need to fertilize or anything to get seeds germinated. They just need moisture to get started. So I'm just going to fill each one of these little containers with soil. Just top it off there. Doesn't have to be full, even just about 3/4 full. Don't fill it all the way to the brim because we're going to want to leave a little space so we can cover the seeds with some dirt. All right. Now let's get started. Let's look at the seeds I'm going to plant. First one I'm going to do is African daisy. And this is rapidly becoming one of my favorite flowers in the garden. These grow only in, it says, I think, zones like 9 through 11. You need a pretty warm climate for these. Well, they will grow in other climates, but they're annuals in the other climates. They're perennial in zone 10. So these make really good ground cover and a big splash of color wherever you want them. They get to about 2 feet, maybe 60 centimeters in diameter, and lots of flowers. Daisy-like flowers. Although it's not a daisy, it's actually a calendula. And this particular mix has orange, yellow, and white, and apricot it says, but they also come in deep purples, dark reds, burgundies, all kinds of colors. So they're really hardy, drought resistant, colorful way to add a splash of color to the garden. But they're getting pretty expensive. They're about $9 for one plant at the nursery, up to $12 for the more exotic colors. So I'm going to see if I can plant some this year. 15 days to germination and the depth of 1/4 inch. They're interesting. They look kind of like pepper seeds. All right. Oh, they're very delicate. All right. So I'm going to put, how many should I put? I'll put 2. Should we do 2? Let's do 2 in each pot, just in case. So I don't know what the germination rate is, so we'll just do 2 in each pot. There's 2. All right. And then we'll just put the rest of back in here. We've got quite a few, so this is great. We'll have a lot of African daisies. And now, I'm just going to take another container. We just want to put like a 1/4 inch, which is like 1/2 centimeter. Just enough to really cover them like that. And then the idea is that these are made out of organic material that's going to soak up the water. So we just put some water in there, and then there's no holes under here, so these will just hold the water underneath. All right, and now I'll get this one planted up too. Oh, before I get, the most important thing you do when we're planting, label them. All right, so these are African daisy. Just put a little label on there. Let's put it right there. Next, we're going to plant some marigolds. Well, I love marigolds. They're fast, easy to grow. They make lots of flowers, and they're really great for pollinators. They attract lots and lots of pollinators. So I have 2 varieties here. I have the bolero, the dwarfed bolero, and these are French double dwarfs, which are going to be really pretty. A variety of colors here. Now, what's tragic is it's really easy to replant marigolds. They are annuals here, but they make lots and lots of seeds. It's really easy to gather the seeds and then just replant the seeds. But I don't have any left. I had a big box of them. I've used them all up, so I'm starting from scratch. But this year I'm definitely going to be collecting my seeds. All right, so this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this whole thing up. I'm going to do 2 rows of the French dwarf and then 2 of the bolero. So we'll make those labels first so I don't forget. So in this one, there is going to be a watering tray. This will be full of water. I'm going to just put the water in there right now. Put about 1 centimeter of water in there. And just to get that started, then fill these trays up. Green there. Again, this is just generic potting soil we got from local nursery, just whatever inexpensive stuff we can find. It looks like there's some vermiculite in there. All right, now let's do the bolero first. So this will be bolero. And let me show what these look like. This is what they look like. So they're kind of interesting. They are these little little feathers or something, right? They're long. And so again, I'm going to put 2 in each one because these are usually very, very good about germinating. And I do wish I had kept more seeds. They're really easy to collect. Once the marigold flower dries, you just pull apart the flower, and you'll find each one has like 100 of these little seeds in it. So, all right, these are the bolero. Let me see if I can open the French dwarf a little more delicately. And you will see these look identical. You cannot tell by looking at the seeds what color the marigold's going to be. So it's fun to find out what colors you get. All of them are good. Again, I use these around the border of my planting beds because they attract pollinators. And they also kind of deter like certain rodents. They don't seem to like the aroma of these. So it's a bit of a furry pest resistant. Not much, but they don't like eating it. They won't eat them, that's for sure. So it's a good thing that I use to around the borders of my planting beds. All right, we've got all the seeds, and now I just got a 1/4 inch. So again, just enough soil to cover the seeds. And the birds, I don't think they like marigolds either, so we don't have to worry too much about them eating. Now, one thing I wish this had was a cover. I wish it had like a little dome on it to protect the seeds, but we'll just see how this works. I've never used this particular brand before, or these, so this is all new. We'll see how this works, and then we'll go from year to year. Again, our traditional method is just to reuse these trays that we've used in the past. We try to be as economical as possible here at the Ponderosa. Oh, I'll water this for good measure. And before I forget, let's put French. All right, so that looks good. I'm just going to set that aside over here. And I will probably leave these here on this table. We're under an umbrella. You can see we get dappled sun, so it's great and it's cool. This is the coolest part of the whole yard, the whole property, in fact. As I speak, we are entering a heat wave that's supposed to last the whole week. So while I realize most of North America is being blanketed with a late winter storm, it is warm, and today we are supposed to start having very unseasonably warm temperatures. I don't think the seeds will worry about that. The main thing about seeds germinating is that the soil has to be a certain temperature. A lot of them has to be 60, 65 degrees. We're just going to start our seeds outdoors. It's early, it's middle of March, so, tomatoes will be ripening in June, maybe early July instead of May. Okay, so speaking of which, let's get on with our seeds. So I've got tomatoes. This is just, I think, a beefsteak. That's classic beefsteak. Some lettuce. I want to get some lettuce started. Some basil seeds. Sweet basil, some Thai basil. We'll do some serranos. This is like our favorite. I'll try some habaneros, and I have some Scotch bonnet, one of my favorites. I like Scotch bonnet a little better than the Reapers. Oregon Spring tomato, just to see how that works. I've got a cherry tomato, Baxter's Bush cherry. I have a champion. Now these are seeds I harvested from a tomato plant that I really like, so I'm gonna try planting some of these and see what happens. And for these, I'm going to use a lot more soil because I want these to be starts to put in the ground. Like normally we would be putting these starts in the ground. We would have started the starts back in February and they'd be ready to put in the ground, but we're getting on with it. Actually, let's start with the champion. See if those work. Right, so I'm going to do a lot of these champion because I don't know how viable they are. So it's going to be like 4 or 5 in each. Start to cover them. There we go. Bush cherry. These are little seeds. All right. We all know what tomato seeds look like, right? You've seen them in the middle of tomatoes. That is the seed. Beefsteak, my favorite. Beefsteak makes those big, huge slicing tomatoes. You slice a tomato that's large enough, a tomato slice that's large enough for a whole burger. That's your beefsteak. All right, and then the Oregon Spring, again, this is a very quick growing and producing. You should be getting fruit in 60 days. So let's put, there we go. All right. That over into the tray, and we'll put the rest of the water in there. All right, well, I took a little break. I planted up the other African daisies, got these filled up, so we're going to do the rest of the edible crops in here. Let's start with the basil. I'm going to start with this, what's left in this container here. Now, basil seeds are the tiniest of all seeds, so it's really hard to see them. I think there's a couple in here. Well, let's see. Yeah, I don't know if you can see them. There's a couple little black dots on my hand. Those are the seeds. So, and let's put some dirt on that. And there is our basil. Now the next two, I'm going to do one of my favorite. This sweet Thai basil is really delicious. This is what makes Thai food taste like Thai food. So, whoa, now you can see. They're like poppy seeds, teeny tiny little. I'll never run out of these Thai basil seeds. I have so many of them. Here we go. I'm just going to do 2 of those. 1/4 inch on there, about 1/4 inch on there. Thai basil. Alright, let's do some chili peppers, my favorite. Let's try some Scotch bonnet, really super hot. A couple of Scotch bonnet there. Habanero. I'm going to do 2 containers of habanero. Here. And 3 in here. Habanero, super hot, but manageable for most people if you like hot food. And those are habanero. In this row will be serrano. And these last 2 will be all lettuce. Need about 6 of those. And again, you've seen chili pepper. When you cut open a green pepper, you see these little seeds. Those are the seeds. I'm putting 3 in each one because maybe we could separate them. And that's all serrano. And these last 3 are going to be lettuce. And lettuce seeds, again, teeny tiny. If you've ever seen like caraway or dill or any of those other kinds, it's like that. They're little delicate ones. And we just need a few in each one. These will transfer. Okay. 6 should be enough. Now lettuce, I mean, you can cut and come back, but still you need a bunch of lettuce. I use lettuce often, so smooth that out, put the lettuce in there, and now we're just going to water it in. I already made my labels ahead of time, always a good idea. You'll see I'll put some water in the tray too, so that. All right. And we are all done. Like I said, I'm just going to leave these out here. Can't wait to see how the African violets come out. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. And let us know. Leave a comment below and let us know what you are planting from seed this season. Again, I'm doing flowers, edibles, and whatever seeds we got. So I will keep you posted. I'll post some more videos once these germinate and start to sprout, and if we ever get any harvest out of them. This is the time of the year when hope springs eternal for gardeners. This is what it really is all about, all the preparation. This is the fun part, planting the seeds, watching them grow, harvesting flowers and vegetables, and just watching the whole life cycle. So thanks for joining us again for Ponderosa Garden Adventures. We'll see you next time.